Thank you very much, everyone. I have a few cue cards with me tonight because it's my first public speaking event. I've been interviewed and I've been on TV and all those things, but this is the most nervous I've probably ever felt in front of a big crowd. But the energy in the room is infectious and the support is incredible, so thank you all for that. I want to start by sharing a few facts with you. Kevin Costner was a carpenter to 32. Vera Wang designed her first wedding dress at 40. J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone at 35. I want to thank Gary for inviting me here tonight to share my story about resilience, and in it I'm going to touch on 3 points that are very special to me. Number 1, take the risk. Number 2, do more of what you love. And number 3, it's never too late. Many of you may follow me on Instagram with a lovely girl Orla there I met and the ladies, and I on Instagram I'm on it every single day and on social media every day, and you know, as Gary mentioned, I've won a few awards and I've been on TV and things like that, so I've been very fortunate and grateful for the success that I've achieved, but it didn't start there. I graduated in 2000 with a B.Ed Honours in Art and Design. I went on to be a teacher for a few years because that was the safe option. Friends, family, teachers advised you, you know, get your pension, get your ducks in a row, get a sensible job, and all I ever wanted to do was be an artist. And when I told my career advisor that, they were horrified. They were like, no, you need a proper job. It's like, right, okay. So I got my proper job and I was in it for a few years, and I had long-term relationship, car, house, all of those things, lovely teaching job, which would be fantastic for many people, but my heart was not in it. So a friend of mine took ill, she had breast cancer, and she said, Jackie, since I've known you, all you've been talking about is wanting to travel, wanting to see more of the world, wanting to paint more. So she said, go to Australia, stop talking about it, do it. So I went home that night to my boyfriend and I said, I'm going to go to Australia. And he says, no, you're not. I'm not going with you. I said, well, I'm going. And I went that day and I booked my ticket, one-way ticket to Australia on the 1st of September, got a career break, got on that plane with £250 in my back pocket. I'm the eldest of 5 children, and everyone said, oh, your mum and dad will give you a few pounds for Australia, you'll be grand. They didn't. So Daddy gave me £20 for the airport and says, buy yourself a wee coffee when you're there. So I landed in Australia and I had to be resilient. I had to find a job, I had to meet people, I had to find somewhere to live, and it was to be the most incredible year of my life in 2006. I feel very fortunate to have had that experience because it taught me more about taking risks, being courageous, and just going for it, because I felt so free on the other side of the world. And I did random jobs like nannying, working in a backpackers. I did teach art for a wee while, but all along the way it was the most incredible experience because of the people I met on the journey. I came home at the end of the year and I wasn't ready to go back to the 9 to 5, and I saw an advert in the paper and it said singer required for a band, must be willing to travel. And I come from a very musical family. I'm very fortunate to have been reared in a musical family. So I thought, right, I'll ring them. Had an audition that day, and 2 weeks later I was touring with a band from everywhere from Italy to Israel and everywhere in between. It was an incredible experience. I came home, it didn't last forever, and I had to go back to the job. So I was fortunate to have been given a job as head of art in a lovely secondary school. And like Carly said, there was no problem with the job. I loved my colleagues, I loved my students, I loved the job I was in, but there was this part of me that was not fulfilled. I was saying to my students, follow your dreams, follow your heart, follow your passion, and I wasn't doing that. I really wasn't. So I thought, right, fair enough. So I was in the job for a few years and I was single at that point, and I thought, right, I'm going to meet someone, I'm going to go online dating. I was 35 and I met this guy online. We started talking that day and he said to me, sure, will we do coffee today? Let's not waste time, we're not spring chickens, let's meet today. I thought, yeah, take the risk, why not? So we met that day, Scott, he's now my husband by the way, and we met that day, and Aaron's met him, Aaron likes him, so he's a good guy. But that day we talked about everything, we had such common interests. He was a teacher as well, primary school teacher, I was a secondary school teacher. But we had shared interests and passions, and I told him about my solo trip to Australia in 2006, and he said, God, I'd love to do that, but I've never had the courage to do that. I would love to do that. And I said, well, why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? So we met on the 1st of August and on the 1st of January we were on a plane to our round the world adventure. So a second career break for me in my teaching career. Again, I wasn't settled. So we took our year out, but the year was incredible. We went everywhere from New Zealand, Australia, Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, everywhere. We were teaching English as a foreign language, and it was cut short, sadly, because Scott's father fell ill with cancer. So we came home in June, and his dad was very ill. So we got engaged in June, got married in December. His dad passed away, sadly, the following August. We had our first son 3 weeks later in September. His mum was diagnosed with cancer in October. We lost her in April, within 8 months of his father, and we found out I was pregnant with baby number 2. So we just stopped and we said, you know what, life is too short. What are we doing here? You know, from one day to the next, we don't know what's coming. We really don't, as all of the speakers before me have said. So we sat down in tears, and we're in a very dark place at that point, and we said, right, what are we going to do? We both handed in our notices as teachers very shortly after that, and we said, life is for living. He started his own business, his passion is coffee. He started his own coffee business, and I pursued my art, my passion for art, and really launched my art business. And as soon as we handed in our notice in our careers, that's when the doors started opening, and it was incredible. It was like overnight. So I felt very grateful for that. Now, during that time, and after that, shortly after, as Gary has alluded to, the pandemic hit. So Scott and I were like, oh my goodness, we're not going to get any funding from anywhere here because we've started our business at the wrong time, and we're going to have to really do something, find resilience. So I said, right, look, I'm going to really work on social media first. I'm going to push us on social media. I do his and mine. And suddenly, then again, opportunities started coming in. As Matthew said, like, social media is a very powerful tool as well. And I was on it religiously every day. I don't think I've not posted in a day in 3 years. I haven't missed even Christmas Day, birthdays, whatever. I've never missed it. So a slave to the gram, as some of my friends say. But there's where the opportunities started coming. And the positivity, I kept saying we're going to be grand. In COVID, what happened was Scott's coffee business, he has a mobile coffee business, a converted horse box, and it's based in Rostrevor where we live. His coffee business took off because everyone was social distancing and he was outdoors and everything. And then my art started to really grow as well because people were at home, they were spending more times in their home, they were doing up their homes, they wanted something uplifting and colourful, which my art very much is. And I started getting orders flooding in from all over. And people were doing Zoom calls, and one guy put one of my paintings behind him in a Zoom call, and everyone on the call were like, who did the painting? And then other people bought more and more. So it was incredible how our businesses started really to flourish in this time of uncertainty and worry. But again, we just stayed positive throughout that. So alongside that, then a changing point and a big moment in my life came when, I don't know if you know, renowned TV presenter of The Repair Shop, Jay Blades, incredible guy and designer, found my art on Instagram, and out of the blue sent me a voice note, which I'll keep forever, saying, Jackie, I've just found your art, it's given me shivers at the back of my neck, we need to talk. So he rang me that day, and we shared our passions for interiors and colour and vibrance, and he said, we need to do something together. So he commissioned me to create a painting and about hope. And I created the painting, and he then put it on some of his furniture designs and cushions, and the orders came flooding in. So suddenly I was finding myself with all these orders all over the UK that I didn't, people that didn't even know who I was. So again, I believe that was the positivity and trying to see some good in the challenges we were facing at that time. So he's a fantastic man as well, and he's a big ambassador for resilience. So after that, point 2, what I would say to you, and this touches on what I've already mentioned, is do more of what you love. I listened to a fabulous speaker, a podcast by Leah Davidson, and in it she talks about finding resilience is bringing things into your life that really light you up, that make you happy. I'm very fortunate that my art is my career. I'm very fortunate, I don't take that for granted for a second. But as I say, when Scott and I went through that very dark time, and that he was in a low point in his life, and I was there by his side, we thought, how is he going to come out of this? How is he going to get better? How is he going to find that resilience? And we looked back to childhood and we said, well, what things made you happy? And it's been touched upon tonight as well. he loved climbing mountains, he loved swimming, he loved doing all of those things in the great outdoors, so he started to do more of that. And when he started to do more of that, he found he was getting more strength. So, and for me, playing music with my family, my father, that lights me up as well. And sometimes my job, which I absolutely adore, can be very stressful, as all of you can appreciate. It's not just about creating lovely paintings, it's managing staff, managing overheads, I own my gallery, and all of those day-to-day things. So I think it's very important to do other things and bring other things into your life that do light you up or make you happy if it's not your job. So Leah Davidson said she loved to read, but when she had her family and her job, she said, I just didn't have time. But then she stopped and said, I need to reframe that. That's not a fact, that's a thought. So she said, I'm going to make a promise to myself and I'm going to read for 5 minutes every single day. And that became a habit for her. And she said some days she read for 5 minutes, some days it became 10, 15, 20. And she started to really find her love for reading again and bringing it into her life. And it really helped her in other aspects of her life. So I think that was a really important point. When I heard that, I thought, like, how important that is for us, all of us here who have very busy lives, and we're always, all of us are guilty of that. And I'm too busy to do that exercise, or I'm too busy to do the things I love. Well, you can bring it in. So that's one thing I took away from listening to Leah, even for 5 minutes a day. The final point I want to touch on, and it's close to my heart, is it's never too late. As I said to you, we all have the power to change, we all have the power to turn things around. Resilience is that, and there's a lovely lady, Lucy Hone, who did a TED talk, and she said, look, I'm going to share the secrets of resilience and resilient people. Number one is that they accept that shit happens. We're going to have that, we're going to lose someone we love, we're going to have the breakup, we're going to maybe lose a job, we're going to fail our driving test, we're going to go through those things in life, and we have to accept that. That's one of the biggest things. Number two is focus on the good, and a lot of the lovely speakers tonight touched on that. So, when there's something really bad happening to you, try and see what is good, what can come out of this, what have I learned, what strength have I gained from going through this experience. And number three is ask yourself, is what I'm doing helping me or harming me? And that resonated with me as well, because again, if you stop and think about that, it's very powerful. So she said, look, these three things really are the secrets to resilience. So I looked at the likes of J.K. Rowling. She went through poverty, bad divorce, depression, and came through all of that with resilience and wrote Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone at 35, like I say. So there's a lot of people out there who are amazing examples of how going through something really terrible can lead to something really amazing. So I met Scott when I was 35. We both handed in our notice at 39. I'm 45 now, and finally living my dream, living my best life, as it were, and so is he. So it is never too late. It's never too late to travel solo to the other side of the world. It's never too late to meet the love of your life. It's never too late to change your career. And I would love today to leave you with that thought and know that it's worth taking the risk. And it is never too late. So please, if you take anything away from my talk today, those are the two things I'd love to share with you. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.